Headline news most affecting Chilliwack this week. Is there an end to the transit strike? After 5 years in the system, a verdict in a sexual assault case. The long weekend, unfortunately, saw yet another swimmer drown. And the Chilliwack Chiefs, the Vancouver Canucks, are they going to get into the same rink together? And Ian will be back with sports just a little later on. All right, Chilliwack, let's get started. And quickly, an update of a story that started to break on Wednesday afternoon, and that was a light plane on its approach to Chilliwack Airport. It clipped a light standard just off Prest Road. Transportation Safety Board has now been brought in to review this. The plane did land safely at Chilliwack Airport. That's all we know for now. We will have more details as they become available. Last week on the News of the Week, Chilliwack MLA Dan Coulter said that the BC transit strike between its drivers and the employer may be heading into the next chapter. Now, Coulter said right here on set that the mediator, Vince Reddy, would release a report. And we're still waiting for that report. Black Press reporting that after 5 years and a ton of delays, a sex assault victim has finally received justice. 43-year-old Rupreet Singh Parwal was found guilty of one count of sexual assault. The verdict handed down last Thursday at Chilliwack Law Courts. Now, the charges date back all the way to July of 2018. In the early hours of that morning, a woman who is not being named due to a publication ban said she was raped by a co-worker by the bleachers next to Chilliwack Secondary School. And again, because of the publication ban, not too many details have been made available. BCRCMP notifying the Independent Investigation Office of an incident in Hope where one man died. Back on June 28th, RCMP attended a report of two vehicles in a collision on the Coquihalla Highway. A number of people had non-life-threatening injuries. Everyone was transported to Fraser Canyon Hospital for treatment. Now, this is where it gets a little murky with details. An altercation allegedly occurred between two of those injured people. That resulted in police showing up, and attending officers responded to Fraser Canyon Hospital. Then there was an altercation with one of the police officers who discharged his firearm. So now, unfortunately, that person who was shot has died. IIO is now looking at police procedure, and of course, they're not going to comment until their reports are all filed. Heartbreak on the Canada Day long weekend. On Monday afternoon, Agassiz RCMP and BC Ambulance responded to an unconscious man that had been pulled onto a sandbar in the middle of the Chehalis River. Despite the best efforts of bystanders and the paramedics, the man was unable to be resuscitated. Apparently, he was trying to cross the river, but he got caught up in the current. Fraser Valley Regional District has released their regional growth strategy. It is a website that looks into the future. What are the challenges? What are the resources? What's needed? And can they pay for it? Currently, the Fraser Valley population is about 340,000. Those are 2021 numbers. However, the projection for 2050, at least 500,000 people. Darlene Peltier, who is the Volunteer Services Coordinator with Salvation Army, has put out a social media plea for help. You can apply to be a volunteer, and she says she will take you on a personal tour of the facility. You'll be amazed at what everybody's trying to do with what little they have. The Salvation Army does need some serious help. As previously reported on News of the Week, the food bank needs goods and cash, and realistically, they only have a 4 or 5 week supply of goods and food for those in need. The votes are in, and the city of Chilliwack has announced its new bike lane sweeper name. It will be Sweeperella. The city received about 400 suggestions for the new name and asked the community to come up with their top 10, which included Chimboni, Dust in Time, Dusty McBristles, Little Bo Sweep, Obi-Wan Cleanobi, Sweeperella, Sweeping Beauty, The Grim Sweeper, Tidy Tim, and Zambrumi. While you are not required to submit your name, the grade 3 class from Unsworth Elementary did. Guess who came up with the winning name? At Tuesday's Chilliwack City Council meeting, there was council endorsing a request for a proposal for the Sardis Park Playground. Council accepted the proposal from the lead proponent, Macker Playworks. So that's about $275,000. And yes, funds are available in the financial plan. After the break, Ian will have sports and what is happening with the Chiefs and the Canucks.
Wow, thanks, Don. All that time off, didn't skip a beat. It's a tough fact to follow. Hello, everyone. I'm Ian Parks with chillTV, with the latest in sports that affects those of us in Chilliwack. And it's been a busy summer so far, with lots more happening in the upcoming weeks. To start, the latest rumor in the hockey world. On Sunday, the Vancouver Province newspaper published a story about the Vancouver Canucks showing interest in buying the Chilliwack Chiefs of the BCHL. Let the speculation start, as the BCHL broke away from Hockey Canada and is now an independent league. Former Chilliwack Mayor Clint Hames, who was involved with the construction of the Chilliwack Coliseum, posted to Facebook, "The Chief Development Group still own the facility. The public-private partnership was an agreement that the city, after a period of years, would take the facility back. There are still a few years left on that agreement. If a deal like this were to go forward, there would likely be an agreement similar to the Abbotsford agreement, whereby the Canucks would agree to manage the building for a fixed period. It would not be sold outright. I think this is an interesting development, especially given the recent move by the BCHL to be an independent league. Fraser Valley News reached out to the Chiefs for comment. No response as of publishing the article on Sunday night. In more Chiefs news, they announced that the associate coach and assistant general manager, Brad Riella, has been named head coach of the Lloydminster Bobcats in the AJHL. Riella wanted to thank the entire Chilliwack Chiefs organization for everything they have done for my family and me over the years. It's been an amazing experience from start to finish. I'll always be grateful for my time in Chilliwack and the people I was so fortunate to work with every day. The Chiefs are a first-class organization, and I wish them nothing but the best moving forward." After winning multiple titles as a head coach in both the PJHL and the CSSHL, Riella joined the Chiefs in the 2018-19 season as an assistant coach and director of player development. Over his 5 seasons with the team, he moved into the role of associate coach and assistant GM. BC Hockey announced the schedules and rosters for the Program of Excellence, or the POE, provincial camp, being held in Chilliwack between July 20th and 27th at the Chilliwack Coliseum. The female U18 camp will see 76 of the best 2006 to 2008 born players compete from July 20th to 23rd. The male portion of the camp will run shortly after July 24th to 27th, and will see 68 of the top 2008 born players take part. Provincial camps are for the players that are residents of British Columbia, and as part of the phased selection process for BC Hockey to evaluate and ultimately choose the teams that will represent BC at the U18 Women's National Championship in November for the U18 Team BC, and the WHL Cup in October for the male U16 Team BC. At the provincial camp, both the female U18 and male U16 invitees will be split into 4 teams respectively. Over each 4-day camp, the teams will participate in a variety of on and off ice sessions, including inter-squad games and practices. The University of the Fraser Valley Cascades men's basketball program will play host to one of the top teams in the National Collegiate Athletic Association, or the NCAA, as the Boise State Broncos come to Abbotsford on August 1st. The Cascades and Broncos will tip off at 7 p.m. at the UFV Athletic Center in a contest that basketball fans in the area won't want to miss. Boise State finished second in the Mountain West Conference last season with a 24-10 record, en route to a number 10 seed and their second consecutive NCAA tournament appearance. This is the first time the Broncos have made back-to-back appearances at the tournament since 93-94. The Cascades, meanwhile, finished last season with a 9-11 record in the Canada West regular season, before falling to the Brandon Bobcats in the opening round of the playoffs. With the Cascades returning the majority of last year's squad, they'll be looking to improve on that mark and make a deeper run in the postseason this year. This will be the second consecutive year that the Cascade men's basketball program has faced an NCAA Division I opponent in preseason, as they hosted the UNLV Runnin' Rebels last August. In football, last week, 30 players from the G.W. Graham Grizzlies went down to Cheney, Washington for a football camp at Eastern Washington University. 4 days and 3 nights at the university dorms with 16 teams from Alaska, BC, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. New head coach Rick Piche wanted to provide opportunities to players to learn from some Division I coaches and players. This development camp highlighted players from across the Pacific Northwest at all positions, And BC Provincial All-Star running back Yapo Conte won the running back MVP award among 900 athletes at the camp. Standout and Team BC quarterback Aiden Hewitt threw 11 touchdowns throughout 3 days and ran one in as well when he led his team at the Friday Night Lights event to an overtime win in the first round with a gutsy run up the middle against Clarkston. BC Provincial All-Star Carter Dallas had 9 touchdowns, 7 from Hewitt and 2 from Ryland Parks, to lead all receivers on the week. Coaches were impressed with his ability to find open space on the field and his 6th gear once he had the ball in his possession. Stay tuned for what's up next with that special group of players who will be representing Team BC in Edmonton starting on Sunday, July 9th. The Valley Huskers main camp started this week with sights on another successful BCFC season. They started off the season with hosting the 2nd annual Cascade Cup and hope to fill stands for their home opener on July 29th. After winning the inaugural Cascade Cup last year, the Huskers are hoping to use Game 1 as the springboard into their season on their road to the Cullen Cup. And of course, they can't do it without us, Chilliwack. 5 home games during the season, and head coach Bob Reese will take care of business between the sidelines. All he needs for support is to fill the stands. Season tickets are on sale now at valleyhuskers.ca. I know I'll be there, and I hope to see you all there as well. In fast pitch, Chilliwack has long been a hotbed for fast pitch in BC. With top-notch organizers at the helm, Chilliwack hosts more than their share of provincial tournaments because we have the fantastic fields at Townsend Park, the committed volunteers, and some of the best players in the province. This weekend, Chilliwack Minor Fast Pitch will be hosting the U20C Provincials at Townsend Park. Action starts on Friday. Come watch the Chilliwack Force in action at Diamond 3 at 3 p.m. with the official opening ceremonies immediately after. In curling, an online memo from Curl BC, Chilliwack Curling Club's manager Bruce Renwick is now the new competitions manager for Curl BC. With 27 years' experience as manager of the Chilliwack Curling Club and hosting special curling events, Renwick is particularly suited for successfully run the Curling BC's provincial championship system. Renwick will stay on with the Chilliwack Curling Club for the time being. The Chilliwack Golf Club is hosting the Chilliwack Men's Open again on Saturday and Sunday, July 8th and 9th. This year, they're bringing back some highly anticipated features to the event, such as the Saturday night party. This year, it's hoedown themed. Grab your boots and cowboy hat. As well, we'll be heading across the street to Greendale Acres for live music, food trucks, and more festivities. Tournament participant favorites, Friday night horse race, and the Hole in 15 beer garden will also be back. Well, that's a lot this week. Stay tuned for more sports updates as they happen in our community. I'm Ian Parks with chillTV.
chillTV weekend weather. So, Cari, is it another sweltering weekend for us all?
Thanks, Don, and welcome back. We're glad to have you here. Yes, the weather is going to stay beautiful, but it's still really warm, higher than average temperatures. And the lows are going to be quite high as well. It's going to be only down to like 15 at the lowest. Fun fact, Monday was the highest average temperature that the Earth has ever recorded at 17 degrees. Back to you, Don.
Thanks, Cari, and thank you for watching. If you have a local news story you'd like us to report on, you can always send us a note to news@chilltv.ca. Thanks a bunch. A big tip of the hat to Steve Croner for filling in for me over the past few weeks. Have yourself a good weekend. I'm Don Lehn.